Good evening, friends. Welcome to this transformational venture. Today's topic is crafting brand positioning and creating brand equity. Today is the second part of choosing and designing customer value. The last session was on identification of the market segments and market targeting and competitive dynamics. These two topics we have already covered. Today we are going to learn crafting the brand positioning and creating brand equity. And in the next session, we'll be focusing on product and pricing strategy. No company can win if its products and services resemble with other product and services. As part of the strategic brand management process, each of our offering must represent the right kinds of things in the minds of our target market. Although successful positioning a new brand in any established category may seem difficult, identifying an important market gap and addressing it through appropriate differentiation strategies ensures the success in long term. The example of Will's lifestyle shows that it is possible to achieve success despite the presence of many established brands in the same category. As the example of Will's lifestyle demonstrates, a company can make a mark by carving out a unique position in the marketplace. Creating a compelling, well differentiated brand position requires a keen understanding of the consumer needs and wants, company capabilities, and competitive actions. It also requires disciplined but creative thinking. In this section, we outline a process by which the entrepreneurs and the startup firms can uncover the most powerful brand positioning for their company. The important topic in this segment is developing and establishing a brand position. All marketing strategy, as we know, is built on segmentation, targeting, and positioning, which is termed as STP. The company discovers different needs and groups in the marketplace, targets those it can satisfy in a superior way, and then positions its offerings so the target market recognizes your company's distinctive offerings and images. Positioning is the act of designing a company's offering and image to occupy a distinctive place in the minds of the target market. The result of positioning is the successful creation of a customer focused value proposition. cogent reason why the target market should buy your product. There are certain components of it. I will explain these components with the help of three companies: Mahindra and Mahindra, High Design, and Domino's. They all have defined their value propositions, given their target audience and the benefits. Take the example of Mahindra Scorpio, which is a SUV category. The target customers of Mahindra Scorpio is consumers who are interested in lifestyle products. The benefits out of this product is its ruggedness, luxury, and comfort. These three factors. The value proposition that they have created, it's a vehicle that provides the luxury and comfort of a car and the adventure and thrill of an SUV. Take the example of High Design, which is a leather, which produces leather bags and other fashion accessories. The target customers are fashion conscious consumers. The benefits that it derives: durability, style, and aesthetic appeal, and the value proposition that it draws: fashion accessories that communicate luxury and style. Take the example of Domino's Pizza. The target consumers of Domino's is convenience-minded pizza lovers. The benefits it gives: delivery speed, and good quality. The value proposition of Domino's is a good hot pizza delivered to our doorstep within 30 minutes of ordering. So, for these three different types of brands, company, and product, the target customers, benefits, and value propositions all are very distinct and different. Positioning requires that marketers define and communicate similarities and differences between their brand and its competitors. Specifically, deciding on a positioning requires: there are three factors. One is determining a frame of reference, FO1, by identifying the target market and relevant competitors. Number two, identifying the optimal points of parity, POP, and points of difference, POD, brand associations given that frame of reference. And the third important aspect is creating a brand mantra to summarize the positioning and essence of the brand. Now, this entire concept has been presented in this figure. You should construct a brand positioning bullseye for your company. A brand bullseye provides content as well as context to improve your understanding of the positioning of a brand. Here we describe the components of a brand bullseye, illustrating with a hypothetical Starbucks example. In the inner two circles is the heart of the bullseye. The key points of parity or POP and the points of difference or POD, as well as the brand mantra. In the next circle, it represents the substantiators or the reasons to believe RTB attributes or any benefit that provides factual or demonstrable support for the points of parity and points of difference. Finally, the outer circle contains two other useful branding concepts. One, the brand values, personality or character, which are all intangible associations that help to establish the tone for the words and actions for the brand. And the second is executional properties and visual identity, which are more tangible components of your brand that affect how it is seen in the market. There are three boxes outside the bullseye. The three boxes outside this bullseye provide useful context and interpretation. To the left, two boxes highlight some of the input to the positioning analysis. One includes the consumer target and a key insight about consumer attitudes and behavior that significantly influenced the actual positioning. The other box provides competitive information about the key consumer need the brand is attempting to satisfy, and some competitive products or brands that need your suggestions and the market feedback. To the right of the bullseye, one box offers a big picture view of the output, the ideal consumer takeaway that would result if the brand positioning efforts were successful. So this is the entire structure of a brand positioning bullseye, which you should construct for your own business. Next important topic is positioning and branding a small business. Building brands for any small business is a big challenge because the startup firms and small organizations have limited resources and budget. Also, the focus in many times is on technology and doing the business, the operational aspects of the business. Nevertheless, numerous success stories exist of entrepreneurs who have built their brands essentially from scratch to become a powerhouse brand. In general, with limited resources behind your brand, both focus and consistency in marketing programs are critically important, where creativity is also a paramount. Finding of new ways to market, new ideas about the product to consumers are also very important aspects. I would like to give you some specific brand guidelines for your small business. One, creatively conduct low-cost marketing research. There are a variety of low-cost marketing research methods that may help your small business connect with customers and study the competitors. One or two key associations. Small businesses often rely on only one or two brands and key associations as points of difference for those brands. These associations must be consistently reinforced across the marketing program, and it should be continued over time. The third guideline is employ a well integrated set of brand elements. Tactically, it is important for small businesses to maximize the contribution of each of the three main sets of brand equity drivers. First, they should develop a distinctive, well integrated set of brand elements that enhances both brand awareness as well as brand image. Brand elements should be memorable and meaningful with as much creative potential as possible. Innovative packaging can substitute for ad campaigns by capturing attention at the point of purchase. So, point of purchase is also very important. Second important issue is proper names or family names, which often characterize small businesses. Take the example of Vishal Garments, Jagannath Traders, Agarwal Stores, Oswal. Such names and style may provide some distinctiveness, but can also suffer in terms of pronounceability, meaningfulness, memorability, or other branding considerations when you are examining your brand positioning from a wider canvas. If these deficiencies are too great, explore alternative brand elements. The fourth guideline is create the buzz and a local brand community. Since small businesses must rely on word of mouth to establish your positioning, public relations, and social networking, and also low cost promotion, sponsorship, etc., it can be inexpensive. Alternatives can be explored. As it will be discussed in, it was discussed in various occasions, and also in next slides I will describe it. Creating a vibrant brand community among current and prospective customers can also be a cost-effective way to reinforce loyalty and to help spread the word to new prospective customers. I can give you the example of web browser Mozilla Firefox. The company was able to compete with Microsoft's Internet Explorer in part because of its dedicated volunteer group of 10,000 programmers who work on its open source coding. The last guideline for you would be leverage as many secondary associations as possible. The secondary associations may be any person, place, or things with potentially relevant associations and often are cost effective shortcut means to build your brand equity, especially those that help you to signal quality or credibility. These are all important aspects that I wanted to mention. From this discussion, we can draw some salient points. A company's closest competitors are those seeking to satisfy the same customers and needs and making similar offers. Whereas a company should also pay attention to latent competitors. The latent competitors are who may offer new or other ways to satisfy the same needs in the market you are operating. A company should identify competitors by using both industry and market-based analysis. To develop an effective positioning, your company must study competitors as well as actual and potential customers. You need to identify competitor strategies, objectives, strengths, and weaknesses. Developing a positioning requires the determination of a frame of reference, FOR, by identifying the target market and the resulting nature of the competition and the optimal points of parity and the point of differentiation and also the brand associations. Points of difference are those associations unique to the brand that are also strongly held and favorably evaluated by your consumers. Points of parity are those associations not necessarily unique to your brand but perhaps shared with any other brands. Category point of parity associations are associations consumers view as being necessary to a legitimate and credible product offering within a certain category. Competitive point of parity associations are those associations designed to negate competitors' point of difference or overcome their perceived weaknesses or vulnerabilities of your brand. The key to competitive advantage is relevant brand differentiation. Consumers must find something unique and meaningful about a market offering. These differences may be based directed on the product or service itself or on other considerations related to factors such as employees, channels, image, or services. Another important aspect is emotional branding. Emotional branding is becoming an important way to connect with customers and creating differentiation from the competitors. Although small businesses and startup entrepreneurs should adhere to many of the branding and positioning principles larger companies use, you must place extra emphasis on your brand elements and secondary associations and must be more focused and create a buzz for your brand. In this section, I am going to discuss how to create the brand equity. One of the most valuable intangible assets of any firm is its brand. And it is incumbent on marketing to properly manage their value. Building a strong brand is both an art and also a science. It requires careful planning, a deep long-term commitment, and also creatively designed and executed marketing. A strong brand commands intense customer loyalty. At its heart is a great product or service. If you want to be a successful brand creator, you must excel at the strategic brand management process. A strategic brand management combines the design and implementation of marketing activities and programs to build, measures, and also manage brands to maximize their value. The strategic brand management process has four main steps. One, identify and establish brand positioning. Two, plan and implement brand marketing. Three, measure and interpret brand performance. And growing and sustaining brand value deals with brand positioning. The American Marketing Association defines a brand as a name, term, sign, symbol, or design, or a combination of them, intended to identify the goods or services of one seller or group of sellers and to differentiate them from those of the competitors. Thus, a brand is a product or service whose dimensions differentiate the product service in same way from other product or service, which are designed to satisfy the same need of the customers. These differences may be functional, rational, or tangible. All are related to product performance of the brand. They may also be more symbolic, emotional, or tangible aspects related to what the brand represents or mean in a more abstract sense. Brand equity is the added value endowed on products and services. It may be reflected in the way consumers think, feel, and act with respect to the brand, as well as in the price, market share, and profitability the brand commands. Customer-based brand equity is the differential effect of brand knowledge that has on consumer response to the marketing of that brand. A brand has positive customer-based brand equity when consumers react more favorably to a product and the way it is marketed when the brand is identified. than when it is not identified. So a brand has negative customer based brand equity if the consumer react less favorably to marketing activity for the brand under the same circumstances. There are three key ingredients of a customer based brand loyalty. One is difference in consumer response, second is consumers brand knowledge, and third is perception, preference and behavior. Let me cover these three aspects very brief manner. Brand equity arises from differences in consumer response. If no differences occur, the brand name product is essentially a commodity and competition will probably be based on price. Differences in response are a result of consumers' brand knowledge. All the thoughts, feelings, image, experience, or belief associated with the brands must create strong, favorable, and unique brand associations with the customer, as have Toyota made it. The strong positioning of Toyota was for its reliability, the hallmark for caring, or the immersion.com for the convenience. Brand equity thus is reflected in perceptions, preferences, and behavior related to all aspects of the marketing of a brand. A brand promise is the marketer's vision of what the brand must be and do for the consumers. Consumers will decide based on what they think and feel about the brand, where and how they believe the brand should go, and grant permission or don't grant permission to any marketing action or the program. Learn from the growth story of Lifebuoy, Dettol, Xerox. The Lifebuoy is an illustration of how the company has consistently maintained the brand's key promise of health over the years and decades, and yet introduced several variants and line extensions with a more generic interpretation of the brand promise and contemporary execution of marketing mix elements, keeping changing consumer preferences in their mind. Next important issue is brand equity models. I will explain three models, although there are various models available in literature. The first model is brand asset valuator model, BAV model, where there are four pillars. The four pillars are the four key components of brand equity. First pillar is the energized differentiation, which measures the degree to which a brand is seen as different from others and is perceived momentum and leadership in the market. The pillar 2 is relevance, which measures the appropriateness and breadth of the brand's appeal. The third pillar is esteem, which measures perceptions of quality and loyalty, or how well the brand is regarded and respected. The fourth pillar is knowledge, which measures how aware and familiar the consumers are with the brand. The next model is brand dynamics pyramid. According to this model, brand building follows a series of steps as depicted in this pyramid. For any one brand, each person interviewed is assigned to one level of the pyramid depending on their responses to a set of questions. The brand dynamics pyramid shows the number of consumers who have reached each level. The levels are presence, relevance, performance, advantage, and bonding. Presence is active familiarity based on past trial, saliency, or knowledge of the brand promise. The relevance to consumers' need in the right price range or in the consideration set. The performance, it is a belief that it delivers acceptable product performance and is on the consumer's shortlist. The advantage is also a belief that the brand has an emotional or rational advantage over other brands in their category. Bonding is rational and emotional attachments to the brand to the exclusion of most other brands available in the market. The bonded consumers at the top of the pyramid build a stronger relationships with and spend more on the brand than those at the lower levels. There are more consumers at the lower levels, so the challenge for the company is to help them move up. The third model that I am going to discuss is the brand resonance model. This model also views brand building as an ascending series of steps from bottom to top, ensuring customers identify the brand and associate it with a specific product class or need, and firmly establishing the brand, meaning in customers' minds by strategically linking a host of tangible and intangible brand associations. It elicits the proper customer response in terms of brand related judgments and feeling, and finally converting customers' brand response to an intense and more active loyalty point of view. According to this model, enacting these 4 steps means establishing a pyramid of 6 brand building blocks as illustrated in this figure. The model emphasizes the duality of brands. The rational route to brand building is on the left side of the pyramid and the emotional route is on the right side. Mastercard is a brand with this duality because it emphasizes both the rational advantage of the credit card, its acceptance as establishments worldwide, as well as the emotional advantages expressed in the award-winning priceless advertising campaign. The campaign was, "There are something money cannot buy. For everything else, there is MasterCard." That was the punchline for their advertisement. Creating significant brand equity requires reaching the top of the brand pyramid, which occurs only if the right building blocks are put into the place. And the building blocks are brand salience, brand performance, brand imaginary, brand judgments, brand feelings, and brand resonance. So, this is the model. Resonance is actually the intensity of customers' psychological bond with the brand and the level of activity it engages. Brands with high resonance include Harley Davidson, Apple, eBay, etc. Next important topic is building brand equity. There are 3 main sets of brand equity drivers. One is the initial choice for the brand elements or identities making up the brand, such as brand name, URL, logo, symbol, characters, spokesperson, slogan, jingles, packages, signage, etc. Second set is the product and service and all accompanying marketing activities and supporting marketing programs. The third driver is other associations indirectly transferred to the brand by linking it to some other entity who may be a person, a place, or a thing. The secondary source of brand knowledge is very important. So, I would like to say a few words about this. This is the third and final way to build brand equity. Creating brand equity by linking the brand to other information in memory conveys the meaning to your customer. These secondary brand associations can link the brand to sources such as the company itself through branding strategies, to countries or other geographic areas through identification of product origin, and to channel of distribution through channel strategy as well as to other brands through ingredient or co-branding, characters through licensing, spokespeople through endorsement, sporting or cultural events through sponsorships, or some other third-party sources through awards or reviews. So these are some ways of secondary brand associations. Brand promise will not be delivered unless someone in the company leaves the brand. Disney is so successful at internal branding that it holds seminars on the Disney style for employees from other companies. When employees care about and believe in the brand, they are motivated to work harder and feel greater loyalty to that firm. Some important principles for internal branding are: choose the right moment, link internal and external marketing, bring the brand alive for your employees. Measuring brand equity. But how do we measure brand equity? An indirect approach assesses potential sources of brand equity by identifying and tracking the consumer brand knowledge structure. A direct approach assesses the actual impact of brand knowledge on consumer response to different aspects of the marketing. Marketing insight and the brand value chain are two different approaches. The two general approaches are complementary. The companies can employ both of these approaches. In other words, for brand equity to perform a useful strategic function and guide marketing decisions, that a company need to fully understand two different aspects. One, the source of brand equity and how they affect outcomes of interest, and two, how these sources and outcomes change, if at all, over time. Brand audits are important for the former and the brand tracking for the latter. So there are two different ways to measure the brand equity, by way of brand audit and by way of brand tracking studies. Next topic is managing the brand equity. Since consumer responses to marketing activity depend on what they know and remember about the brand, any short-term marketing action by changing the brand knowledge necessarily increase or decrease the long-term success or future of the marketing actions. There are two important features of managing brand equity. One is brand reinforcement, and brand revitalization. These two important tasks you should exercise on a regular basis to maintain the brand equity alive in the market. At the end, I would like to summarize the discussion. A brand is a name, term, sign, symbol, design, or some combination of all these elements. They intend to identify the goods and services which you offer and differentiate them from those of your competitors. The different components of a brand are brand names, logos, symbols, package design, and so on. They all are brand elements. Brands are valuable, intangible assets that offer a number of benefits to customers and firms and need to be managed successfully. The key to branding is that consumers perceive differences among brands in a product category. Brand equity should be defined in terms of marketing effects uniquely attributable to your brand. That is, different outcomes result in the marketing of a product or service because of its brand compared to the results if that some product or service was not identified by the brand. Building brand equity depends on three main factors. Number one, the initial choices for the brand elements or identities making up the brand. Two, the way the brand is integrated into the supporting marketing program. And three, the associations indirectly transferred to the brand by links to some other entity like the company, the country of origin, channel of distribution, or another brand. Brand audits measures where the brand has been, and brand tracking studies measure where the brand is now and whether marketing programs are having the intended effects. A branding strategy identifies which brand elements a firm chooses to apply across the various products it sells. In a brand extension, a firm uses an established brand name to introduce a new product. Potential extension may be judged by how effectively you are leveraging your existing brand equity to a new product, as well as how effectively you are contributing to the equity of the parent brand in turn. Brand maybe expand coverage, provide protection, extend an image, or fulfill a variety of other roles for your company. Each brand name product must have a well-defined positioning to maximize the coverage, minimize the overlap, and thus optimize your portfolio. Finally, customer equity is a complementary concept to the brand equity that reflects the sum of lifetime values or all customers for a brand. Thank you very much for your participation.